I slipped in unnoticed, grabbed a drink from the bar, and then retreated to a dark corner where I could quietly observe what was happening. The late hour and cleared tables suggested that the celebratory portion of the dinner was over, and more than likely, so were all the speeches and bonus distribution. Now it was more like a cocktail party. The tables had been pushed back to create a dance floor, and the five-piece band was getting ready to perform. My focus was on the reason I came to this event. I watched her move through the crowd, talking to people and looking out at the world as if she were the lady of the house. I sensed it before he spoke. She's definitely something, isn't she? I turned around and saw a short man with a ruddy face standing to my left and a little behind. He held out his hand. Jack Branscombe. I work out of an office in Omaha. I took his hand, introduced myself, and said, "Do you know her?" "Not nearly as good as I would like. I came close once, but closeness only counts if you manage to have sex, right?" I was intrigued by his statement. "You came close? How was it?" "Are you new to the company? Don't you know who she is?" "I'm just a guest." "Well, little Amy, these are the boss's personal reserves, but when he's in the mood, he shares. The Omaha branch was the company's poorest manufacturing division. One day, the boss and Amy flew into town. The boss gathered all the salespeople in the office for a meeting, and then read us the law on mass layoffs. He told me to turn everything upside down, otherwise he would close the office and we could all go looking for new jobs. And then he said, "But to give you a little incentive, I'll make it interesting and give a prize to the best seller. Amy, show the boys what the winner gets." Amy performed a striptease for the boys that would put a professional stripper to shame. And then the boss said, "One night with Amy for the top-performing salesperson." I missed by a lousy $2,000. My sales were $1,562,000, but Miller beat me by $1,800. Miller, that's him over there. He said Amy showed him what heaven could be like. "Hey, here's my regional manager. I need to go and suck up." And he left me standing there, staring at my wife and wondering if I even knew her. It was Amy's company Christmas party, and I wasn't supposed to be there. I was supposed to be in New York on business, but events moved much faster than expected, and I was able to fly home 2 days earlier than planned. I tried to call Amy to tell her about this, but her office was closed for the day, and all I heard at home was the answering machine. When the plane landed, I saw that we still had plenty of time to go to a party, have a few drinks, and then take Amy home and try to make up for the week she was away. Now I didn't know if I should even bother returning home. The idea that my wife was a corporate whore seemed preposterous on the surface, but Jack didn't shy away at all when he made his statements. Amy was the executive secretary to Jason Billings, the company's president and CEO, and she actually traveled with him when he visited outlying offices. And that year, she went to Omaha 3 times. My heart was screaming, "Bullshit!" But my intuition was telling me, "Check this out." I sat in my corner, sipped my drink, and watched Miller. Half an hour later, he did what I was waiting for. He put down his glass and headed to the toilet, and I put down my glass and followed him. Luckily, he was the only one in the toilet when I entered. I walked over and looked at him and asked, "Miller, right?" He nodded and asked, "Do I know you?" "No, we've never met, but you're my hero." He looked at me strangely, as if he thought that maybe I was trying to hit on him, and then he said, "Why am I your hero?" "Because you had sex with Amy Beckman. Do you know how many guys in a group would cut off their left arm just to have coffee with it? You spent the whole night with her. I have to tell you, that puts you pretty high on the list of people I'd like to be like." I saw the relief on his face when he realized I wasn't a faggot trying to pick him up, and he smiled. "I was just lucky with the draw. Jack Branscombe beat me by $10,000 on the last day of the competition. I told all my customers about the competition and the prize, and almost all of them increased their orders by 1,000 or 2, which was just enough for me to win the jackpot. Hey, if you ever get the chance, you better lie, cheat, steal, or whatever you have to do because she's worth it." He started rummaging through his wallet, and when he pulled it out and opened it, He took out a Polaroid picture and showed it to me. I keep this to inspire myself on days when sales are slow. Yes, that was Amy in all her naked glory. Oh my, I said thoughtfully, some guys get really lucky. Yes, and it will blow some guys' ass, especially trusting husbands. I returned to my dark corner and prepared to watch. Amy didn't expect to see me for another 2 days, and I was curious to see what would happen. As the party began to wind down, I walked out into the hotel lobby and sat down, where I could watch the doors to the banquet hall. Jason and Amy were the last to leave, and I had a newspaper in front of my nose, which I pretended to read as they passed me. I heard Jason say, "Will you leave yours here and come back for it in the morning?" "No, you can follow me." And then they were out of earshot. I guessed that Jason was going to follow Amy to our house, and I needed to beat them there so I could clear the answering machine. I drove like crazy and broke every speed limit in the city. I ran toward any light that caught my eye, and all a stop sign was to me was something to look at as I drove by. I parked around the corner, ran up to the house, walked in, and ran to the answering machine. I pressed play, and as soon as my message appeared, I pressed delete, and then hurried to the hallway closet where I kept my camera bag. I pulled out my Nikon and checked what I had left on film, then grabbed my camera bag and ran up the stairs. I positioned the video camera so that no one would notice it and then focused it on the bed. At the last minute, I remembered the little red light and ran to the bathroom and grabbed a Band-Aid to cover it. 5 minutes later, I heard the garage door opener start working, and I walked out of the bedroom, up the stairs, and peeked around the corner. Amy walked in, headed straight to the bar and grabbed a couple drinks, and about 2 minutes later, Jason walked through the front door. That bastard had the key to my house. Amy walked up to him, handed him the drink, and raised her face for a kiss. Jason took the drink, then leaned down and kissed Amy on the lips, which seemed to be accompanied by a slight flick of his tongue, and then the two of them walked over and sat on the couch. "I think everything went well tonight. You did a great job, as usual." Amy grinned. "That's why you pay me big money." "No, that's not true, and you know it. I'm paying you big money because you're the hottest ass this side of the Mississippi. Your effectiveness in other areas is just an unexpected bonus. Speaking of which, I hope you were happy with your fee." "You've been more than generous, Jason. There should have been more, especially after you had Feldman wrapped around your little finger last night. He couldn't say enough good things about you. Did he stay the night?" "Yes, and I didn't get much rest that night. He especially loves to have dirty sex, and I'm tired of it. Tonight you will have to be content with only love and easy sex." "I thought you would never ask." And he stood up and undressed. Amy finished her drink and then asked, "How long will you stay with me?" "All night, baby. Nancy is visiting her sister for 3 days. How soon do I have to leave?" "You can stay until tomorrow evening. Hubby arrives at 2 o'clock the next day." "Why can't I sleep with you tomorrow too?" "Because I want to be as fresh as a daisy when Mark gets home." "Are you sure he doesn't suspect anything?" "No, honey, he's ignorant. He loves me, and in his opinion I can do no wrong." And then she walked up to Jason, lowered her head, and began to please him. Jason leaned back on the couch, and I saw a satisfied smile appear on his face. I wanted to go down there and punch him in the face, but I controlled my anger. I would take revenge, but it wouldn't be my way. I had several friends who went through divorce, and they were tormented and left to bleed by the courts and lawyers, and I was full of confidence that this would not happen to me. But I needed the right pictures, and I needed Amy to take Jason into the bedroom where the video camera could capture them. Pictures with sound are much better than still pictures, but I still needed the Nikon for backup. "God, baby, but you're amazing at this," he said, as Amy stood up and began to undress. When she was wearing only nylon stockings and high heels, she slowly turned around in front of him. "Do you like it?" "You know what to like, baby. I can admire you." "That's good, lover boy, because Amy missed you today. So let's go upstairs and see what you can do to help me solve my problem." Jason got up from the couch and, accompanied by Amy, headed towards the stairs. I returned to the bedroom and climbed into the closet, and a few moments later the two of them entered the room. Amy was still in her heels and stockings, and I don't think I've ever seen a more erotic sight, but not what I was looking for in terms of photos. I want it, Jason. I want you. I'm ready, love. Love me. Have sex with me, Jason. I saw and heard them having sex. I was forced to endure it in the closet and wait for the right moment to take photos. I was on edge. I wanted to jump out of the closet and start shooting with Nikon, but I wanted to get as much video as possible. I especially liked the parts where Amy screamed Jason's name. I had to force myself to be patient and wait, watch and listen. In the end, I couldn't stand it. I no longer had the strength to look at it. I heard and saw enough. I pushed the closet door and headed towards the bed. I still managed to get 5 good shots before the two realized they weren't alone. I just kept moving around and taking pictures until I ran out of film. Jason ran out of the bedroom and down the stairs to where his clothes were, and a minute or two later I heard the front door slam. Lying on the bed, Amy cried and tried to speak at the same time. "What are you doing here?" she asked, more as an accusation than as a question. "You should be in New York." "Yes. Well, Amy, I guess you just can't rely on me for anything." "What are you going to do?" "I'll check into a hotel tonight and see my lawyer first thing in the morning. After that, I'll step back and look at what's left." "Why are you going to a lawyer?" "Because that seems to be how you usually get a divorce." "Divorce?" "Yes, honey. This is what usually happens when one partner in a marriage catches the other cheating. And from what I learned tonight, you were cheating in droves. I will ask the lawyer to set up a time when I can come back and pick up my things. It would be better if you weren't here." I turned to leave and she screamed, "Don't go, Sam, I can explain. It's not what you think." But I just kept going. I wasn't surprised when I came into work the next morning to find 7 messages from Amy on my voicemail. I removed them and got to work. Around 9, my secretary poked her head into my office. "Your wife is on the 3rd line." I was ready to tell her to shut down and not answer Amy's calls anymore, but then I thought it wouldn't be fair to Megan to put her in the center of things. I picked up the phone and pressed the 3rd line button. "Yes?" "Come home, Sam. I cried all night. I love you, honey, and I need you here." "Cool shit, Amy. I don't want to be around you at all." "Can we at least get together, sit down and talk?" "I don't see any need, Amy. I heard enough last night just listening to you and Jason. I can't for the life of me think of anything you could say that would make what I heard inappropriate." "I don't know what you heard, Sam, but I can explain if you just give me a chance." "Okay, Amy. Where and when?" "I don't want to do this in public, Sam. Just come home tonight and we can talk." "I'll agree, Amy. But you should know that I know a lot more than you might think. The first time I catch you in a lie, or even a slightly embellished truth, I will leave." "Fair enough. I'll be there by 6. I arrived at 6:10 and found Amy sitting at the kitchen table. There was an open bottle of white wine in front of her and 2 filled glasses on the table. "Getting me drunk won't help you, Amy." "I know, but maybe the wine will take the edge off a little." "There is no tension on my part, Amy. Just regret that what I thought was so good was actually rotten to the core." "Please, Sam. Give me a chance to explain. It's not what you think." "Let me tell you what I think, Amy." "No, let's do it this way. Let me tell you what I know. I know you're a slut. I know of 3 men you've had sex with this year, and from what I've heard, the number is probably much higher. I saw you having sex with Jason. I heard you tell him how much Feldman enjoyed having dirty sex with you, and a man named Miller was all too happy to show me a nude photo of you and tell me what a wonderful night he had with you. Prize in the competition. For heaven's sake. You were the prize in a competition for some fucking degenerate from Omaha. What can you say to make this all go away?" "Okay, Sam, I get the picture. I'm a slut in round heels. But there is a reason for all this, and that is what I want to explain. It won't make me go away or heal the wounds, but I need you to know why I did what I did, even if you won't accept it or understand it." "Okay, go ahead, I'm listening." "I'm ambitious, Sam. I want more from my life, at least in terms of work. I tried my best to be the best I could be to become Jason's secretary so I could use that as a springboard, and it worked, at least until last night. I haven't seen or spoken to Jason since he left home last night, so I don't know what my status is right now. Jerry Winters was retiring next month, and Jason was going to give me Jerry's job. I would be the VP of sales, and the chances of the frontrunner taking over as president and CEO when Jason decides to call it a day are slim. So I did a few things that were outside the scope of our marriage, but so what? I wouldn't be the first woman to get laid on her way to the top. Besides, it didn't cost you anything. You were never home. Are your underwear clean, Sam? Did you ever get a taste of the weird while you were out there traveling around doing business for your company? Yes, Amy. My underwear is clean. I had my chances, and there were many of them. Women who twirled in front of me like you twirled in front of Feldman. But I always said no. I always said no because I knew there was something better waiting for me at home. But I think that's not really the case, is it? Of course you know that. I love you, Sam. You know it. You should know this. We couldn't have been together for as long as we have without your knowledge. What I did while you were away didn't change my feelings for you. It definitely didn't sound like that last night. I clearly heard you swearing at me through your moans while you and Jason were jumping on the bed. Honey, it was all bullshit. While you were taking photos, did you happen to notice the size of Jason's man tool? He's half the size of you. Like most men, who feel inadequate on some level, Jason needs to stroke his ego. That's all it was, honey, just bullshit to make Jason feel better. Nothing more, Sam. I swear. It doesn't change anything, Amy. You are still an unfaithful wife and a slut. What's so damn important about being a vice president or becoming president and CEO? I earn more than enough for the two of us. First of all, you never had to go to work. That's where you're wrong, Sam. I need financial security gives for me to climb the career ladder. So now, on top of everything else, you're saying I'm a bad provider. Oh, you're a great provider now, Sam, but what about next year or the year after? You're having a heart attack, Sam, just looking for a time and place for it to happen. Your job and the way you do it will kill you, Sam. You are on the road 3 weeks out of 5. Eat bad food, sit in living rooms, and drink in the evenings because you have nothing else to do. When you come home, you spend 10 to 12 hours a day in the office and still bring work home in the evenings and weekends. When you leave, Sam, and I will stand and look into the coffin, all I'll have left are memories, equity in the house, and $500,000 in life insurance. $500,000 sounds like a lot, but it's not. If I try to keep the house, I'll have to use up most of it to pay off the mortgage, or at least lower it enough so that I can refinance and get a payment I can afford. Taxes, whatever they were, would take some of this money, and then I would have to pay off all our debts, because I would not be able to pay them on the secretary's salary. I wouldn't have much left, and I'd still have to work to make ends meet. Well, you're right about one thing, Amy. You will definitely need financial security because it's over between us. Perhaps there was a chance, a very small one, that we could survive your affair. Perhaps I could understand and forgive this, but there is no way I can accept what you do. If you try to divorce me, Sam, I will fight you every step of the way. I will hire the best divorce lawyer in the area and fight this. I love you, and I know you love me, and I know we can get through this. You won't fight me, Amy. Do you know why? Because of your precious safety. That's why. Right now, you can go to Jason and say, I am a free lover. We don't have to hide behind Sam anymore. Who do you want me to sleep with next? But if you resist me, I will trample you and Jason into the dirt. I'll make sure his wife gets copies of all the photos, and when she's done with Jason, you'll be lucky to have a job at all, let alone a VP position. It's your choice, Amy, and if I were you, I'd think long and hard about it. Now that I'm here, I'm going to go upstairs and get some things. I grabbed my bag and threw some shirts and underwear into it, and then took out the video camera from where I hid it and threw it into the bag. Then I headed back down. Amy stood at the bottom of the stairs, tears streaming down her cheeks. Please, Sam, please don't do this. I love you, Sam. Honestly, I love it. We can work it out, honey. Just give it a chance. I shook my head, said, Goodbye, Amy, and walked out. The next morning, I showed up to Jason's office at the crack of dawn, So early that he wasn't even there yet. I was sitting in a chair directly in front of his office door when he entered it. His face paled and his gait slowed when he saw me, but he feigned bravado. "You're the last person I expected to see here. I've come to make you an offer you can't refuse." When I left his office, I ensured Amy's safety. She would get the job of VP of Sales, and all I had to do was promise that the photos I took would never be seen by Jason's wife. I told him that he had this promise as long as he treated Amy fairly. "Treat her well, and you'll never hear from me again. Deceive her, and not only your wife, but everyone else will see them." "Why are you doing this for her? I would have thought that under the circumstances, you would have gone after her, like Attila the Hun prowling the steppes of Russia." "Once upon a time, long ago, I loved her and she loved me. It must be worth something. She still loves you. What she did has nothing to do with how she feels about you." "Maybe not, but for me it is." The divorce was finalized 2 years ago. I get cards from Amy for Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, Sweetest Day, my birthday, and any other holiday she might send a card for, and they are always signed, "Much love, Amy," and all with, "Please call me sometime, I miss you." She was promoted to vice president, and has since been promoted to executive vice president in charge of operations. Ironically, Jason's company bought out my company, and I currently work in the department headed by my ex-wife. Everyone at my old company knows that there will be a reorganization in the near future, and that many positions will be eliminated due to duplication. I have no idea where I stand on the totem pole, but wouldn't it be a major kick in the ass if my concern for Amy's safety cost me my own? Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.